Hey, you know when you go to the JFK airport to pick someone up and that person's flight gets delayed or that person gets stuck in customs and you just have to sit there and wait indefinitely? Just killing time. Or you have a flight to catch at the JFK and you anticipate crazy traffic and you leave really early, but it ends up that, there is no traffic and you're there like 3 hours early than your departure time, and again, you're just like killing time. This video is a quick one for those of us who will have to go to JFK Airport at some point in the future and might run into situations where you're going to have to just kill time, right? So if you're in those situations, I would highly recommend that you stop by the TWA Hotel, which is right off of Terminal 5 at the JFK Airport. Or, if you're into flight attendant uniforms, you might also want to stop by this hotel. I mean, that's not me. I'm just saying that if that's you. And speaking of flight attendant uniforms, this building, TWA Hotel, which used to be called TWA Terminal, was briefly featured in the movie Catch Me If You Can, starring Tom Hanks and Leonardo DiCaprio, where Leonardo DiCaprio makes a fake identity as a pilot and commits a series of forgery and fraud. I don't know what that has anything to do with flight attendant uniforms, but throughout the movie, you'll see a lot of people in flight attendant uniforms. And it happens that within the movie, there are a couple of scenes where this building is sort of featured as really that stage set. Did you know that Amy Adams was also in that movie? But anyway. So once you're inside this space, you are immersed in this huge column-free space, shaped by thin shell concrete structure, and you look closely and you see that both the ground and the walls are really plastered with these half-inch tiles. They say 20 million of them. And then there are these punches of really vibrant red carpet throughout the space, at the sunken lounge, the corridor, the booths. Eero Saarinen, who's the architect of the building, referred to this color as chili pepper red. And then across the entire building, there are accents of these historic artifacts from cars, phone booths, airplanes, and again, uniforms. But of course, not that I'm all into uniforms, but in case you are. But anyway, it really does feel like you just time travel to mid-20th century. It's almost like you're walking into a huge stage set. The vibe, the color, the music, and I think they really did a fantastic job bringing that mid-century feel back. Even the signage and the wayfinding, they've adopted the original TWA logo, which was originally designed pentagram, and incorporated that into a lot of signage and wayfinding. Let's talk about logistics here. So there's valet parking option available when you arrive. When I was there, it was something like $10 for 30 minutes. So let's see, what was it? I took a picture. Can't really see. But anyway, if you stay longer than 30 minutes, it's gonna be more than $10, right? But you don't have to tell them exactly how long you'll be there. So what I would do is, if you're sure you're going to be there for, let's say, more than an hour at the airport, I would just put it in the parking garage, Terminal 5 parking garage, and then just walk over to the TWA hotel. If you have less than an hour to kill, I would just expect to spend the $10 to $20 on valet fee and just valet. That way it's a lot quicker just going in and out. You just drop the car off, there's a little app that, or QR code or whatever, little smartphone thing that you have to go through, and then you go inside, and when you're about to pick up your car, you can just send a message through your phone, and then they'll have your car in front. But if you aren't sure how long you're gonna be there for, then I guess it just depends how much you're willing to spend, right? How much you are comfortable spending on valet. The good thing is that the hotel lobby is somewhat a public space, right? Open 24/7, and you don't have to be a guest to go in and hang out there, nor do you have to buy a drink or anything, right? When you enter, you'll notice that it's just very spacious, open, and welcoming kind of a space. So you can just hang out there. I feel like, there's a lot of just inspiration left and right in every corner, especially if you're an architect or a design enthusiast. So definitely check it out. But if you're thirsty or hungry, there are also options there. At the ground level, there's like a bar, cafe. You can just quickly grab something and just hang out at that sunken lounge. Or if you're hungry, there's also a restaurant up on the mezzanine level. It's a Jean-Georges restaurant. In Korean, we say Jangjoji. You know who I'm talking about, right? The famous chef. So anyway, there's a Jean-Georges restaurant called Paris Cafe up on the mezzanine level. Those restaurants are above my pay grade, so I couldn't go. But if you'd like to take me there, you can just leave a comment, and then I'll cover the valet fee. Yeah. But if you can't afford to go to these restaurants, there's Paris baguette across New York City, right? So, and I'm sure it's just as good. Yeah. So anyway, this spaceship-shaped building was completed in 1962. It was designed by Eero Saarinen, as mentioned earlier. Now, this architect, Eero Saarinen, is very known for the Gateway Arch in St. Louis, as well as the Washington Dulles International Airport, or Washington Dulles, again, pronunciation. But anyway, Washington International Airport, Eero Saarinen was also the architect. And now that I'm looking at this, it kind of reminds me of Soto de Muro's Braga Stadium. And it also kind of reminds me of Sisa's, National Pavilion. It's kind of like that catenary curve. Back to Eero Saarinen. Eero Saarinen actually never saw this building open because he died in 1961, which is just 1 year before the building opened. The life of this terminal has been quite turbulent. In 1970, just 8 years after its opening, Boeing 747 came into play, and all the smaller planes sort of became obsolete. And also the terminals where that was really designed for these smaller planes before Boeing 747, these terminals also became obsolete, and TWA terminal was one of those terminals. But long story short, the terminal was sort of like on and off throughout. At one point, they considered demolishing the building, but then again in 1994, it was designated as a city landmark, and then in 2005, it was added to National Register of Historic Places, and at that point, it was staying for good. Then they decided to renovate it and make it into a hotel in 2015. And then in 2019 May, TWA Flight Center was reborn as TWA Hotel. So next time you're at the JFK airport and you have some time to kill, just make sure to check it out. Terminal 5, yeah? Thanks.